Let's keep going. Next element, harmony. Harmony is like melody. It has to do with pitch. But the difference is, in melody, the pitches come one at a time in succession. Remember? They're one at a time. In harmony, the pitches are played at the same time. Typically, at least two, but more, you have to have at least two pitches for it to be harmony, but typically you're going to see at least three. Three pitches played together in a certain pattern makes what we call a chord. Here's a chord. And if you'll notice, let me see if I can aim I'm playing 1, 2, 3. I'm playing those three keys at the same time. Okay, this happens to be what we call a major chord, just because of the particular pitches I'm choosing to use. Now, what do we do with these chords? We put them under the melody. They support the melody, if you will. It makes the melody sound a little nicer. So, if I do my melody by itself with just no harmony, okay, now, if I add chords or harmony, makes it a little nicer, gives it a little, what we call support. Think of harmony as the support of a melody. Okay? That's pretty simple. Now, some harmonies can be created in different ways. This is what we're gonna when we go to texture, which is next. In fact, let's just go ahead and move into texture. Texture is the next element. This one's a little more difficult to explain. Think of texture as musical threads. When you weave a garment, you have threads, and they have to be woven together, right? The threads in music are melodies, all right? So we can have one thread, one single thread. Picture just a thread all the way across. Nothing else, nothing under it, nothing over it. And we get that first melody that we've been talking about all along. All right, this is just a single melody. This texture is what we call monophonic. Mono meaning one melody. If I sing the same melody along with the piano, exactly the same notes, I still have monophonic texture. La 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 la. If I have somebody play my recorder, exactly the same melody, same time as me, it's still monophonic because it's still just one melody. Even though I've got three people playing, we're all playing the same thing. That's monophony. In your part 1 section of medieval, all plain chant is monophonic. Credo in un Deum. You will notice all the singers singing one melody. There may be 50 guys all singing the same melody. There may be 50 ladies all singing the same melody. There might even be guys and ladies singing at the same time. That was rare in the medieval period. Only when the monks and the nuns got together was there female and male singing. Wasn't very often, but it did happen. My point is, as long as every person is playing or singing the exact same melody with no differences, it's monophonic. So now when you go back to part 1, when you start listening to the Hildegard von Bingen, really listen for that one-line melody, okay? That's monophonic. That's one type of texture. The other type of texture is homophonic or homophony. Homophony is what we did when we added chords to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Homophony is a melody with chords, okay? So you see what the difference is now. We've got two things. Monophony was only one. It was one melody. Homophony is two. We have a melody, but we also have chords. This is homophony. This is monophony. Single melody, nothing else. Homophony. Oops. And so on and so on. I think homophony is pretty easy. When it gets a little more complicated, especially when we get into the Baroque and Classical period, even though I'm still playing chords in this hand, the way they play the chords like this, with a pedal, it still creates a chord, so it's still homophony. The third texture is polyphony. Polyphony, poly means many, phony means sound. Polyphony, many sounds, many melodies. Polyphony is when you put more than one melody going on. And this can happen in many ways. It could be, somebody could be playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and I am not a good piano player. If somebody else sings Three Blind Mice, how about this? Let me do it like this. If I play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star with on the piano, but I sing Three Blind Mice at the same time, I have polyphony. Three blind mice, hear how they run, see how they run. I can't do that at the same time. That's like doing this. It's impossible. But I think you get the idea. Two different melodies at the same time going on, okay? And that could be done by two people, two groups of people, a person playing the piano on one melody and somebody else singing a different melody. A polyphony can also happen by singing the same melody, but at different times. Famous example, Around, Row, Row Your Boat. Divide into groups. First group sings row, row, row your boat. They keep going. Second group comes in, row, row, row your boat. Third group comes in, row. So we've got the same melody, but it's occurring at different times. So you see the texture. This is the one melody. This is the second melody. This is the third melody. That's what when we say texture, it's weaving those melodic lines together. You'll hear polyphony as we get to the end of the medieval period and into the Renaissance period. The Renaissance period is the big period of polyphony. You'll hear tons of polyphonic examples. So we went over harmony and we went over polyphony. Texture. Really quick, one more, and that's timbre. Timbre. It's pronounced timbre. It looks like timber, but it's pronounced timbre. That means tone color. The ability to tell the difference between a piano using your ears and somebody else singing, or somebody playing a song flute, because of the differences in those sounds, that's called timbre. Each sound has its own different timbre. You can tell that's a different sound than same pitches, right? But different sound. La, 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 la. 3 different timbres. Piano, the song flute, and my voice. Your ability to tell the difference from your mom or your dad or a brother or a sister without seeing who it is talking is because of timbre. You understand the color of their voice. You recognize the color of their voice. We call this timbre. So your ability to listen to an orchestra and go, oh, I hear flutes, and I hear harp, and I hear trumpets, that's because of timbre. So we went through 3 elements very quickly: harmony, texture, timbre. I'll catch the last few elements on the next one.